as an adult, I was diagnosed with ADD. And having ADD diagnosis was a very curious journey for me because it's not something that I expected, but it was something that came into my life. And it explains so much of my behavior. And what it did for me was it allowed me to name something. And by naming it, it gives you power over it and you can choose your journey. And so I decided to choose my journey. And one of the things that really became apparent to me was that as a society and as a professional adult society, there are many attributes of having ADD, the characteristics that are pretty classic, that is looked upon as a weakness. And so I took it upon myself to figure out, okay, how can I convert this into a strength and not a weakness? And what are the attributes? And so one of the things that impacts me with my ADD is that things that are interesting can grab me very quickly, and I can have fleeting moments of attention. And so when you can't pay attention and you look at something like, oh, look at that butterfly, oh, there's a bird, what's going on? So when you do something like that in the professional world, it's not always deemed as a positive thing. But what I've learned is that it actually empowers me to context switch. I can context switch what I've learned probably at a faster rate and with more clarity than other folks without ADD or without my kind of ADD. So I realized that I need situations where I need to context switch, and then figuring out where I can do that and how I can apply it in a really, really meaningful way that aligns with my own values. That was the journey that kicked me off into the wonderful world of startups. Because if there's any environment where you have to context switch, and when you're in a situation where tons of things are thrown at you, it's a startup. So I've learned to convert a lot of my what are society perceived to be weaknesses and convert them into strengths in the startup world. A lesser known component about ADD is that it is there's an element of hyperfocus. So some folks have this ability to hyperfocus on something. So when something grabs our attention, it's like I can sit at a desk for hours. I won't notice the sun setting. I won't notice that I'm hungry. I won't notice other people walking in and out of the room. And I can do that. And that's also a beautiful gift because when you're company building, when you are building anything, when you have that intense, deep work, you have a different output than when you have fleeting moments of attention, or even if it's siloed into different hours. So that's really what kicked me off into the wonderful world of startups so long ago.